Okay, so this is a subject near and dear to my heart. We have five messengers. Predictions? They're not really predictions. They are insights into what we can expect. And I predict that you're going to see this year opening up. Some of these predictions are for this year. I'm going to indicate who said that, why they said it. We have five people, so there's a lot happening in 2026. You're hearing this on the internet. Some of it's conspiracy and fear. You're not going to find that here. Why? Because there's something big and beautiful happening. You're a part of it. Actually, you're creating it. We have control over our destiny here on this planet, our story and how it ends. But we're not alone. There are other, let's just say, entities that exist simultaneously with us. Seen, unseen. We're going to talk about that today. No, this isn't an alien video. However, maybe some of that is included in this discussion. I'm going to cover that now, from astronauts to Baba Vanga to, well, you'll see in just a moment. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. We have it in our control. You're a co-creator. You're unlimited. We don't know that. We have limitations. We have fear. We have all kinds of crazy going on, and it's ridiculous. Why? Why? I always say, I'm going to tell you why. To know thyself. What does that mean? How can you know this if you don't know the opposite? A fish doesn't know it's in water till somebody pulls it out, and then it's gasping for air. And you're thinking, well, I don't need to gasp for air. But I'll tell you what, you can appreciate that water that much more. I hope you'll subscribe, because I'm going to share amazing messages with you this year and beyond, because you're ready for it. And we're going into our beyond, the tipping point. What does that mean? We have come to a point in humanity where we are understanding that not only are we not alone, but we are not that which we believe we are. We're way beyond it. And we're tapping into that power. There are those who I'm going to talk about today who know this, have experienced it, and now validating what most of us have been thinking. Some of you have experienced it and you don't talk about it. Why? There are constraints in the 3D world, the basement, where if you're down there with the darkness and the dampness, you don't know that there's a penthouse somewhere in that beautiful mansion, and that there's a light that's going to shine at some point. You need to be that light that will shine for others to see, not to condemn them or tell them what they should do, but we have to be the leaders of a new world, the change makers. That's how you change the world. And not to judge one another or separate ourselves, but to invite others into the community if they choose, and not to judge that if they don't. So we're going to talk about that space. So not another press conference. We're not going to talk about leaked documents. I'm not going to talk about disclosure. In fact, the opposite. I believe that we are placing our hands still into institutions that have never given us the, let's just say, the real deal, the real accurate information in the first place. And why? Why not? I have to be really honest with you. I think we're not ready for it. I think they're withholding information on purpose. What does this all mean? Let's talk about that. In this video, I want to share 5 stories. They come from an astronaut, a mystic, an astronomer, a filmmaker, and an experiencer. And individually, you might dismiss them. Together, they begin to form a quiet, gentle pattern, a non-governmental disclosure, a preparation for contact that happens through us, not through institutions. I know a lot of you are into this, right? Maybe you're not sure. So I hope you'll keep your mind open. At the end, I'm going to share how we can personally help make that contact peaceful, loving, and aligned with higher frequencies. So take a breath with me and let's begin. Let's talk about Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut who hinted we aren't alone. Now, I actually saw these videos on various talk shows, and actually quite recently, because Buzz, well, when you get older, you Figure, what do you have to lose? Now, all these astronauts have signed disclosures. And I have to tell you, they can't talk about anything. And of course, there's stuff that they would love to talk about, but well, their livelihoods, their reputations, their lives depend on keeping silent. Now, I have to tell you, I have a friend who she worked on Apollo 11. She is brilliant. She was under non-disclosures off the wazoo. And I said, hey, Sue, I have a question for you, and I know you probably can't answer this question. I said, so you know about the astronauts? You were there at NASA. Did the astronauts see alien activity? And she goes, oh, yeah, I thought you were going to ask something else, like confidential. I said, oh, she's going to answer this? She goes, yeah, all of them. I said, all of them? She says, yeah, they're just not allowed to talk about it. She said they're observing all of our launches and they saw many more things out there. She didn't think that was a big deal. And this was quite some time ago that I asked her this. So let's start with Buzz Aldrin. In 1969, Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the moon with Neil Armstrong. Over the years, Buzz has shared, he was the second man that walked on the moon. Some of you might say that never happened, but let's just assume it did. Buzz shared pieces of something more mysterious. He's talked about a strange object that seemed to shadow Apollo 11. 11, pretty cool number, huh? On its way to the moon, which coincides with my friend said that there was craft that checked out every one of their launches. Well, the astronauts get to see this. He said that it was following them on the way to the moon, not behaving like space debris, okay? In various interviews and documentaries, he has described an unknown metallic object that appeared to be watching their craft from a distance while they were actually on the moon, seeing it, and was talking to NASA about this. And of course, they always switch to the medical channel, right? Then later, he drew attention to an odd tower-like monolith on Mars' moon Phobos, an object that looks almost artificial, standing alone on a tiny, barren moon. His exact words were something like, who put that there? The universe put it there. Or if you choose, God put it there. What? What's he talking about? Now, have astronauts officially announced ancient buildings on the moon or said on record we were watched by alien craft? Well, actually, Buzz did, and actually a few other astronauts did. But those recordings seem to disappear and YouTube channels get shut down. But notice what has happened. Hints of structures and anomalies on the moon. He point blank said those couldn't possibly be natural structures. They were definitely made by beings of some kind. Mysterious objects pacing their spacecraft. Subtle acknowledgments that we are not alone out there. He said that over and over again. Buzz Aldrin sensed a presence, and we've had other astronauts discuss this very subtly, and now they're coming out in the open. They don't care. The truth has to be told. As we move into 2026, that something's been watching and waiting for us to be ready. Do you sense that? I do. I will share with you at the end of the video my own experience. So let's go to number 2 on our list, Baba Vanga, the blind mystic and 2026 visitors. Now, Baba Vanga, just like Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon, didn't have exact years. They had time periods, and some of them were wrong. We can't exactly dictate the time certain things happen, but we can look at events, which is what I go by. And when these events converge, we can say, that looks like it's happening now. So now we leave the world of rockets and let's step into prophecy. Many predictions have been attributed to her. And among the prophecies linked to Baba Vanga are warnings about years of chaos on Earth. And then, so we're right at this, then around, which would be 2026, a new kind of encounter. She was very specific about this. Stories circulating about her predictions say that humans would be contacted by beings from beyond our world. She didn't say they were physical. These could be interdimensional. We don't know exactly, but it's not Hollywood invasion, but in a way tied to our consciousness and our technological turning point, beyond our comprehension of what we're capable of doing. There are also quotes attributed to her like, the sun will hide what is coming and it will come fast. What? are you going to interpret that? I'd love to hear your comments. Some people connect that to unusual solar activity and interstellar objects entering our system around 2020, 25, and 26 because, this is where we have solar maximum. We're in it right now, though. And some have predicted that in March we're going to have some big cataclysmic thing. I'm going to tell you something about the sun. This is my personal opinion. This is what I experience. It is a source of energy for you, not to be feared, something that zaps us. It's something that fuels us. And I think that these solar flares are fueling the energy of those in the awakened state or those seeking it. It's going to fuel your energy. I'm going to turn everything around that you thought was so negative because that's what we love out there, that negativity. Oh, fear-based. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing to fear. The sun is beautiful. If it wasn't for the sun, we wouldn't be here. And it fuels us. There's nothing but love and beauty in that amazing sphere out there. First thing in the morning, I go out and I get that red light in, and I do it several times a day. I don't look directly at the sun, of course. And I take a walk every day, and it fuels me and energizes me. It's up to you to decide what it is. And if you're fearful about something, when I talked about the Edgar Cayce, the points on the planet that we have to be fearful of, the red zone map, what is the red zone? For me, the red zone is fear. So if you take your fear to some place to escape what you think is going to go underwater or have a volcano or whatever, you take that fear with you. If you fear the sun, you create fear, and that relationship with the sun is going to be fearful. When you see things as beautiful, that beauty shines in you because that's all you are anyways. The rest is made up stories. We can change the stories. We're doing it now. I'm seeing that in you. Now, if every detail is true or not, the deeper message is this. A humble mystic, village mystic with no telescope, no spacecraft, no government clearance, kept pointing to a future moment when others would arrive or reveal themselves and when humanity's state of mind would matter. So again, we have said, oh, it's going to be alien, there's going to be some landing. It may not be that. It could be a presence known, which brings us to some other people I'm going to talk about. But before we go there, I want to talk about Beatriz Villarroel, the scientist, brilliant woman. She's been on the news a lot. She's been peer reviewed. She's been on News Nation. If you like that channel, and Ross Coulthard, who has interviewed her among other ones. This is a scientist. She's not talking woo-woo. She's just telling you what she observes. She found watchers in the sky. This is hard data. So Beatrice is a professional astronomer. She's actually a scientist who did something very simple and very powerful. She started looking carefully at old sky photographs, right, from telescopes that were supplied. And she spent years on this. She used digitized plates from major observatories comparing images of the sky taken decades apart. And she found things that shouldn't be there. She found brief flashes of light, objects that appear, then vanish, points of light that seem to orbit Earth before the space age even began. Nothing on Earth was up in the sky that is showing up in these pictures that she's observing. It's impossible. So there can't be space junk, couldn't be craft. We didn't have anything up there. So they are called transient objects. Here one moment, gone the next. Some of them cluster in ways that don't match meteors, satellites, or conventional aircraft. In her peer-reviewed work, peer-reviewed, it's tough to get that. Nobody could dispute this. Some of these anomalies even lined up suspiciously with periods of nuclear testing and major human events. They showed up, yeah, when certain events were happening and then moved again. Not like stars or meteors, unexplainable. There's only one thing that you can deduct from this. In other words, whenever we start playing with powerful, dangerous technology, something seems to show up and watch. You've probably heard a lot about this, those of you who follow this type of news. Her research has been published in respected journals, but it hasn't been easy, of course, but she's putting herself out there. She's spoken about resistance, about pushback from colleagues who fear what this might imply. Oh, let's not talk about it. You could lose your job. We've got change makers and light workers stepping out and saying, that's okay. I'm going to speak up. It's time. and it's time. And this year, you're going to see it. So once again, notice the pattern. The scientist working quietly with data finds hints that we have never truly been alone, that long before Elon Musk and satellites, something was already in orbit observing us. They're not giving a global speech. They're simply watching. And that's non-interference. Now I'm going to talk about somebody you may not know about. Are you familiar with James Fox? He's a producer. He's the filmmaker of Hidden Encounters. He's a storyteller, and I'm going to tell you something. They were just here in Washington, D.C., with dozens of people who firsthand witnessed an event a few decades ago that no one could explain. And there have been numerous, not only sightings, experiences, documentation, but every single one was consistent and congruent. And these people now who are under threat are stepping out and saying, before I die, I have to tell this story. So for decades, he's traveled the world collecting testimonies of UFOs and non-human encounters. Commercial and military pilots, radar operators, doctors and families in small towns, former officials who finally want to talk, in films like Out of the Blue. You guys got to check this out. This is amazing, amazing movies. Out of the Blue, I Know What I Saw, The Phenomenon, what a great movie. These are documentaries. And the more recent work, he weaves together documents, radar recordings, emotional eyewitness interviews that you cannot dispute. His Brazilian case, often called the Virginia incident, is especially powerful. Witnesses described a crashed craft, strange beings, military operations, and a cover-up that left a trail of physical illness and fear, and a whole group of people that said, we witnessed this. And yet James Fox does something important. He doesn't just shout conspiracy. He calmly lays out piece after piece. He was skeptic, inviting viewers to connect the dots for themselves. His work shows how ordinary people, not just governments, have been quietly documenting contacts for decades. And I'm going to tell you, the results were they were peaceful. They meant no harm. They didn't do anything to anyone who observed them, except for telepathically communicate. And one of the neurosurgeons finally came out, and I saw this actually the other day in an interview on Jesse Michaels, point blank, had an interview, it doesn't even speak English, and said he had a heart attack, and the other doctor who had witnessed this died. And he said, when he has a heart attack, he says, I have to talk about this. I can't keep it in anymore. He saw this being, and it communicated with him telepathically, and he said, he likened it to an angel. He said it was so at peace and so loving and so beyond us. He said that he felt like we were down here and their intelligence was there, and that it knew what was happening, and it didn't have any fear. That's the level that we can go to, right? Maybe they look different than us. Well, some of us look pretty scary too. So now our pattern grows stronger, right? Astronaut, mystic, scientist, filmmaker, all pointing toward the same whisper. We're being visited. We're being observed. The story's already being told, not just in the halls of power. I think we're letting that go. Why do we need it verified? From what? People that have really hidden the truth for centuries? We the people. We the people. Number 5, Chris Bledsoe. Now, I spoke about him a while ago, the experiencer and high dimensional beings that he talks about. Now, he talks more about these other entities as actual interdimensional beings, not necessarily physical all the time. Sometimes they appear as physical, sometimes now not. And like this is our capabilities, but we're so dense that we remain in the physical world. However, we're going to start to transition that. I believe in 2026, you're going to find yourself doing things that are going to amaze you. Miracles. Edgar Casey, my video on 2026 February. If you haven't experienced miracles yet, get ready for them. I just experienced one that I thought was just off the charts, unbelievably amazing. So be patient with that. They are coming to you. But you have to let go the veils of the disbelief of these possibilities and know that, of course, all things exist. The source is endless. Of course, it's not just humans and just animals and plants, and it's ridiculous. Everything exists, seen and unseen, and all levels and frequencies, and you are actually a part of it. You can access it at any time. And that means you can get answers at any point in your life, answers, guidance. You can go into a state of calm and peace because you're only here such a short period of time. And where you're going, it's amazing. There are no limitations. There are no bills to pay, no illnesses. So finally, we come to the ordinary man when life became extraordinary. So in 2007, Chris Bledsoe went through a profound, terrifying, and ultimately transformative encounter near the Cape Fear River in North Carolina. That's where he lived. What began as a night of distress, he had lost his job, all his finances were in the tank. And so basically, he was broke and he didn't know what was going to happen. He was sick, and he really seriously said, he didn't care if he lived or not. He was exhausted. And that point turned into a series of experiences with glowing orbs, craft, and beings he describes as radiant, and here we go, deeply loving. Yes, they do exist. So you may have heard all kinds of stuff out there. Who are you listening to? Fear-based, right? Of course it exists. If that's what you want to create and you focus on, it will be true for you. And then there's the penthouse, right? You can be in the penthouse, and that's true too. It is a choice. So Chris, his encounters didn't stop. He was supposedly abducted one night. He actually forgot that. There was 4 hours of missing time, and he was with several people on a fishing trip. On the way back to the house, because they were trying to get the heck out of Dodge, they were all petrified. They saw these glowing orbs. They encountered the orbs the entire way back, and then he had visitations since. So this was not something just he saw, but everyone saw and were absolutely petrified. His encounters continued in his home, in his yard, in the sky, over his property. You may have heard he sees orbs, he calls them in. He's known by NASA and government officials because they take him seriously. I don't know the deal. I haven't met the man, but he seems pretty authentic to me. I'm going to keep an open mind with him. Researchers from NASA, government programs, and religious institutions, they visited him. He's met the Pope. He's passed medical tests, psychological evaluations, and years of scrutiny, and they just can't take him down. But what interests me most is not the proof, it's the message. Chris speaks about a female, luminous presence he calls the Lady, connected in his understanding with both Marian apparitions, that would be like Mother Mary, and advanced non-human intelligence. The beings he describes talk about humanity's need to release fear. Wonder why I came up with breakthrough fear. Humanity's need to release fear. It's a barrier. It's false. It's a story. It's self-created. It stops you from becoming the amazing, beautiful thing that you already are. The importance of spiritual growth, a coming shift where contact becomes more open as our consciousness rises. It's in correlation with it. That's why time is a moving target. It's up to us and our frequency. 2026 may or may not happen. We'll find out. He describes them less as aliens and more as higher dimensional, benevolent intelligences who are deeply concerned with how we treat each other and our planet. Why are we afraid of them? We're living in a world where we kill each other. I mean, it's insane. We destroy our planet, and then you go and drink your water in your plastic bottle? Are you doing that? And then we say, they're evil. We need to start to look at ourselves. It starts here. I know you've got it in you because you are absolutely perfect. Just have to connect to that space. So finally, the pattern becomes spiritual. What if contact isn't technological? What if it's vibrational? So what does this all have to do with 2026? Everything's coming in line with Casey, Cannon, everything that's been said. And Chris Bledsoe claims that April of 2026, that there will be something amazing happening here, something revolutionary. And it's not going to be the end of something. It's going to be the beginning. It's going to transform us. We'll see if that happens. But if it's not April, I believe that we will see that in 2026. Way too many messages that this is the year. It's just the beginning of the transition that will continue on and take us into a golden age. But it's still a choice, my friend. Institutions, we're losing trust in them. Old power structures are shaking. People are searching for meaning and spiritual growth for something beyond politics. We're looking, we're searching. It's like the material world doesn't satisfy anymore. So if you were a higher, loving civilization watching this, would you choose to reveal yourself through a frightened government or through awakened individuals whose hearts are open? So we have to go into that space to get that assistance because it's there for us. Our five messengers show us a different path to disclosure. The astronaut, we are not alone, and he's speaking out. The mystic, who points to a time of contact, point blank said that. And that was a long time ago where Baba Vanga claimed this. The scientist, she's finding scientific data. There are watchers in the sky. They appear, disappear, clusters, and they revolve around the stupid stuff that we're doing here on planet Earth. They're concerned because we affect everything. We don't think of ourselves that way. Your thoughts affect me and everything on this planet and beyond. We have to take responsibility for this. We have the filmmaker who's gathering human testimony and putting it out there. He flew these people in to DC recently and they told their stories. Can that many people put their lives on the line? No money. They didn't earn anything. Why would they do this? Because guess what? It's real. Why do we refuse to believe? And then there's the experiencer, Chris Bledsoe, who's giving a message of love. Can we accept that and let the conspiracies and the garbage go? The more you entangle with that, the more you create it. They suggest 2026 may be less about a press release and more about the tipping point in consciousness. It's happening. I think you feel it, right? A moment when enough of us relax, we release fear and say, here we go. Buckle up. We're ready to meet higher beings in love, not terror. We welcome peaceful contact. Remember that we too are part of a vast divine universe. And who knows? We just might not be from here anyways. You came from someplace else first. I'm sure that not every life or existence or form that you were before you were human was on planet Earth. Let's be honest. And I'm going to reveal this to you. I've had decades of dreams. I mean, we're talking dream after dream in the same place over and over again. And it wasn't pretty, but it wasn't on this planet. And it was under attack at all times. Those who inhabited this place, of which I was one of these beings, were actually quite peaceful. There was no war amongst them. But there were others, craft, that were always battling for control. And I would see this going on. And those who lived on that planet, call it Mars, call it anything, I actually don't know. I could draw maps of these areas. Those who lived there were just in survival mode. I remember the skies being very dark and gray. There was no sun shining anymore. There was so much clouds and darkness from all of the battles that were going on, and that those who inhabited these cities had to keep moving and moving and moving. And then eventually we had to abandon the planet. And I was one of those who did that. And not everybody left. Some people chose to stay, and many left. Where did we go? I don't know. Was it here? I can't say. I don't have that answer. Is it possible? If you say no, then you're saying source is limited. And you're saying that the creator of all things, the universe, has a limitation? That's impossible. And you are part of that. You're a co-creator. That means you are not limited. Are you ready to accept that? Because you and I can change the world. Yes, sitting in your living room right now with your thoughts. Let's talk about your role in this possible big event. Let me ask you, if a compassionate advanced civilization were watching you right now, what signal would your energy be sending? Because it's picking up on that. And fear, distrust, curiosity, peace, and open heart. Are you watching stuff that tells you there's reptilians and all kinds of stuff out there that's insane? Source created everything and loves everything, all things. Are you going to go the opposite direction? Then where does that place you? In the basement. And you can choose it, and you'll still be loved anyways. But you're sure not going to experience the new earth. And the penthouse is a beautiful place to be. You're going to see a lot of stuff going on from the penthouse. It doesn't protect you from seeing. the choices of others. But the more you shine your light, the more you lead the way for those who may be looking for that light. Total acceptance, compassion, service to others. This is the space you must go in. So that doesn't mean perfection. It means daily choices. Let's talk about that. Choosing kindness over judgment, turning off fear-based narratives. That's going to be huge. Meditating, praying, connecting to your higher self. When you go in that space, allow it to become silent. You don't have to think in that space. Those thoughts, they're not needed. Sending out a simple, sincere message. Every morning I said light and love to the planet. I ask that I can be a conduit for peace and love, and that maybe I'll reach one person that says, you know what? That sort of makes sense. So to any loving, benevolent beings observing us, we welcome you in peace. We're learning. We're ready to grow. Maybe the real big event of 2026 is not a ship in the sky, but a wave of human hearts turning towards light. I have faith in you. So tell me in the comments, do you feel that presence watching us? Do you feel there's something big? Do you feel that there is something out there? And it may not be in the form that we've been told. It's beyond our comprehension. So those of you who've been watching me now, you know that I was downloaded this book. What does download mean? It's what you get every day. Maybe you're not listening to it because you have too many fearful thoughts. A download is information available to you that without interference is so perfect and logical and beautiful. And you'll get those answers anytime you want them. So I was dictated this book and I was told that you had to have it. And that's exactly what I'm delivering right now to you. Watch this book or read it. I'm sorry, listen to it or read it. And you may never have to read a spiritual book again. It's that simple. Also, those of you who are interested, I'm creating a new community and a new teaching. It's called the Conscious Creator Vault. Sign up for LandriaOnka.com, free inspiration. Whether you're an entrepreneur trying to create a planet conscious business, whether you want to live a chic, sustainable life, that's one of my other channels. Maybe you want to move past fear. The Vault, every month, it's a low payment, and you get 3 complete lessons every 30 days in breaking through fear, chic sustainability, detoxing, creating a completely different way of living the new earth, living in that new earth. We have to live what we pray, said Edgar Cayce. And then the third one is conscious contribution. It could be how you earn. It could be anything you do. I teach you many ways how you can find that purpose in your life and earn money or contribute in some way that tells you you're supposed to be here. Of course, you're supposed to be here. You're amazing. How can you not be? If you say you're less than, oh, don't call Source wrong. Source is never wrong. It's just experiencing. You're experiencing. You're one of the experiences. God bless you if you're struggling, but you can end the struggle right now. Don't expect challenges to go away. The entire journey on planet Earth is about challenges. You don't want to bypass it. Welcome it, because the more you get the challenges, and if you're in a lightened state, the more you handle them as gifts that don't bother you anymore. You solve these problems, you move past, and all of a sudden you have mastered awakening, enlightenment. And you say, okay, I'm going to handle this. This came up. All right, how do I resolve this? And this is your time to move past karma. So those of you, and I'm going to do a video next, is why are things showing up in my life that are so uncomfortable? It's clearing up. You're going to clear up the crap. All the things you've done before that show up in the material world are going to show up and allow you. This is a good thing. Allow you, just like the chaos out there, allow us to change and say, okay, this is a pattern. I've done this. This is my turning point. Yay, thank you. I don't have to be that person anymore. Is that what you feel? Is you want to change who you've been? Because you can be anyone you want. Anyone. I'll show you how. Because you are all things. You're not just this thing you see in the mirror. This is just a very temporary facade of eternity, because you are eternal. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. I love science. I go by science. What are you entangling with? Watch it. Watch those thoughts, those actions, what you purchase, what you entangle with. Go into my description. I give you all kinds of beautiful things to change your life. It's up to you. I'm here for you. You are whole and perfect, 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 strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. You are a co-creator of all things. You can be nothing less because you are of Source. Ye are all gods. These things you shall do and more, said Christ. He walked on water. Does that mean we can? Yes. Don't believe it? Then you won't. Do you need to walk on water? No, I'm not going to do it anytime soon. But there are some things that I do request, and they are here and showing up, and they will for you. I'll see you there. Namaste.